Hi, my name is John Thompson. I'm one of the school board members here at Parkview, and I'm here with Todd Greco. He's our Director of Pupil Services, and we're going to talk about staff and paraprofessionals today. So, Todd, as our Director of Pupil Services, you're in charge of that staff in both buildings. And so, one of the additions in our operational referendum was for a second school psychologist. What exactly does a psychologist do? I mean, I don't even know if I know the whole answer to that. And how is that beneficial to students and staff?
Well, I appreciate the question, John. Thanks for having me. And I think that that's an important question, and certainly one that's difficult to answer because there's so many things that a school psychologist does. Probably to boil it down, the easiest way to understand it, I think a school psychologist really is critical in the overall function of some of our students with behavior and academic needs. They're certainly supporting a lot of the interventions and building systems of support around students if they're struggling with their learning or they're struggling with behavior. They're supporting their mental health, supporting students' social and emotional learning, which is also one of the priorities that we have as a school district. And so those are just a couple of the highlights, I think, in particular. They're also working a lot with teachers to support students in the classroom and any needs that the teacher might have or anything that they see that they need support with as well, and in working with particular students. And so I think it'll be a huge benefit for us at Parkview to add an additional person. Just in the area of mental health alone, I think it's something that we've noticed as not only in our country, our state, and also locally here at Parkview, just the need for additional mental health supports has been very significant. And so just in the last few years alone, we do partner with some community agencies like State Line Mental Health. We have seen our numbers of referrals to State Line Mental Health double over the last couple of years. And so there's certainly a need that's here local, and that's just a couple aspects I think that our school psychologist would be able to assist with, in addition to all of the academic pieces that go with that. And then if a student ultimately gets recommended for any special education services, that avenue is through the school psychologist.
They do all the assessments and things like
Correct.
that necessary to figure out what they need.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So, one problem that I've learned about, I didn't really know this until I got on the school board, was just difficulty in finding staff, especially paraprofessionals, who then, after the school psychologist figures out what the student needs, they seem to be the ones who engage with them and help them accomplish the goals with the individual education programs. Why do you think we have this problem of just finding paraprofessionals to come and work here? And how will the operational referendum help alleviate that problem, or maybe make it a lot easier for us to fill those positions?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and one of the things I've certainly advocated for over many years is supporting our paraprofessionals and kind of making them whole in the area of benefits in particular. And so one of the things that our operational referendum will support is ensuring that paraprofessionals receive their healthcare benefits and so forth, just like any full-time staff, and we'll be able to make them full-time and utilize their services a little bit more. These are folks that are certainly providing critical functions to some of our neediest students, as well as you see them out in crossing guard duty, which is also a critical function that we kind of partner with the village on, but then we ultimately provide that staffing and that support for the crossing guard. So these are folks that I think ultimately we struggle to fulfill those roles oftentimes because we're not staffing full-time, and the pay is starting out at about $16.25 an hour. And so I think that makes it a little bit more difficult for us to compete with other employers. And so they're certainly a critical function in our field, but at the same time, they also come in with a certain skill set that is also desirable, I think, in a lot of different fields and crosses over into other places. And so we struggle to keep and retain folks for that. Probably my time here, I've been in Parkview for 7 years, and during my time, I would say the number one reason, far and away the number one reason why we have turnover in that position is due to pay and benefits. And so I think that's the difficulty in terms of recruiting and retaining people.
Okay. So, like, how many paraprofessionals do you think we hired this past year because we had turnover, and like, how many are there? What percentage might that be? when we're thinking about just numbers? Because I think that helps put a face on the issue. Rather than it just be like one or two, I think it's probably a lot more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, we've turned over, I think, total probably district-wide paraprofessionals this year. I want to say maybe there's been about 4 or 5. I can say in my specific area of special education, we've turned over 3, which for my area, that would equate to about roughly 25% of our special education staff. Going back just one school year previous to this, we had a turnover percentage of right around 50% or just slightly higher than that. So a lot of our folks that are currently in the role have probably been in the role over the last few years. And so there's a lot of energy and effort and work that gets involved when we bring on any new staff in any role, and a paraprofessional is no different. And so there's a lot of training that's necessary to provide, a lot of collaboration, a lot of work with teachers to just get a better handle on the expectations for their role and what they're doing to support students. And so, that's certainly a turnover percentage that we'd like to see continue to be reduced over time.
Yeah, and any business that had a department that had a 50% turnover, that would be detrimental to what they can really do. So I guess the next question I have is, because there's that turnover and these paraprofessionals work with some of our most challenged students when it comes to learning, and we want to help them learn, we want to help them to succeed. If there's not consistency in that, how does that hinder the learning for those students?
It definitely has an impact, and it's not a positive impact, because one of the things, first off, that they need to learn is what their role is and who the students are that they're working with. So not only are there some of the curricular activities that they might be trying to better understand, but in addition to that, they're trying to understand what their expectations are from the special ed teacher that they work with, from the general ed teacher that they work with, and ultimately the student themselves. They're building that relationship, and it's really important. A lot of times, as we know, our students rely upon us. We're the consistent element in a lot of students' lives, and some of our most needy students and our most fragile learners, it's especially so in their lives. And so seeing that consistent face and having that consistent person that they're working with on a regular basis is so important. So it certainly does have an impact. We see that oftentimes some of those changes when people are out for various reasons. Sometimes, behaviors may escalate or things like that, just because of the change of staffing. And so having that consistent person is important for the overall academic and behavioral success of our students, our most fragile learners especially.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for your time today. I appreciate you talking about that. That's something, this topic is something you may not know much about. I'm learning about this myself. And so if you have questions about this, why we're asking for this benefit to help provide some stability in some of these students' lives by being able to retain good staff, because they need that consistency, please direct your questions to Dr. Anderson. Send him an email, make a phone call. He'd love to talk with you about this part of the referendum and any of the other pieces that you have questions about. Have a great day.